All right, guys, welcome to another episode of In Those We Trust podcast. My name is Malik Howard. Got the guy in the building. What's good, bro? Coming off the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, man. Look, we talked about it. It was a probably the worst case scenario Super Bowl for Eagles fans, but it turned out how I think we all wanted it to.
I mean, hey, it was a great game, regardless.
It
But
was.
I just want to have we have a bunch to talk about. But let's start with just like, what was your reaction to the game? Not like we'll break down the ins and outs, but like, what was just your reaction to like how the game ended, your feelings afterwards, stuff like that. What was going through your head?
Yeah, so how the game ended and really like the entire second half of the fourth quarter. I think I texted you like on the last drive that the Chiefs went down and tied it, and then the drive that they
Yeah.
ended up going down and winning it. Like, I think I just told you I was like, it's Mahomes' time. Like he's going to do it again.
Hmm.
And this was the same feelings that we had growing up watching Tom Brady. Like it just happens. If they get the ball last,
Hmm.
your team's going to lose, and that's just how it was forever. That's why people hated the Patriots. It's why they hated Tom Brady. And now it's like, if you give
Hmm.
the Chiefs and Mahomes the ball at the end, you're done. Um,
Hmm.
Honestly, I know we'll like dive into the game more so, but I couldn't stop thinking about the overtime blunder before any snaps were made in overtime on why the fuck the 49ers chose to take the ball first. And I know we're going to get in our like Shanahan choking of a coach
Yeah.
debate, but now afterwards we're learning that like nobody on the Niners even knew the new overtime rules. Chiefs are sitting there saying,
Hmm.
look,
Hmm.
we talked about this preseason, like off-season workouts. We were like, yo, these are the new rules. We got to be prepared if and when we get there. Bro, if the 49ers scored a touchdown, I was thinking about this. Would they have acted like they won the Super Bowl? Like, would they have done the Gatorade?
Hmm.
Would they have like gone out and like just gone crazy? Because it seems like they would have,
Imagine.
because they had no clue like what was going on.
Yeah. So after before we get into that, like my whole thing at thinking afterwards, I'm not a hater of like I'm not like a Golden State hater or a Chiefs hater. I understand you may be because of what you dealt with in Super Bowl, but I'm
Right.
not a hater against, oh my God, it's a team like they're back in Super Bowl again. I'm okay with it because I'm like, you deserve to be in that
Yeah.
position, right? But I didn't have that. I know a lot of fans were like, I'm just tired of seeing them. I'd rather see Detroit than the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. To me, it was a great game. Like all around, I was
Mhm.
like, it did everything it needed to. The first quarter, like, yeah, it was no one, it was whatever.
Yeah.
But once it got into the heat of things, I knew it would turn up. I left with just being like, I can't believe they fucking won. Cause it just felt like like everything was going the 49ers way. Like Patrick
Yeah, it
Mahomes
did.
was fucking up. The defense was stopping them. They couldn't move the ball. I was like, 49ers, you just have to separate.
Yep.
Like, well,
Yeah.
let's get into it. I think there was a moment in which I don't know when. I think it was in second quarter or third quarter that it was like the Chiefs got the ball, and it was like a moment in which okay, no, not Chiefs. I'm sorry. The 49ers had the ball, and it was like
Mhm.
okay, here's a time in which they go up, the Chiefs are in trouble. It lasted
Yep.
for 0 seconds. Like it lasted that little bit of a series. They got the ball back, went down, scored. You knew it was a close game. The only way you
Yep.
beat the GOAT is you have to separate yourself. And they stayed too close for too long. You had multiple occasions to go at it, but it just felt like they just never could separate. It was one moment in the game that which they could have, but they did it. And like that's where I was like, yeah, I could. It's just you can't believe goatness when you see it. And it was like
I know.
I'm seeing goatness. Like it's just he's a
You are.
goat, bro. He's a goat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this was the same. So, like, kind of what you mentioned, because I'm the same way. Like, when the Warriors dynasty, like, when KD signed there, I was like, good. Like, I want to see great. Like, everybody talks about Jordan and those Bulls teams. Like, yo, we got to watch that. I want that. And hated Brady for the longest time, obviously, because he beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl and the way they did it, like the Spygate year and all that shit. So, it always left a bad taste in our mouths. But I remember, like, watching the Super Bowl when it was 28-3, which Shanahan was the OC for, that Brady came back and blew it. That's when I was like, okay, we're watching
Yeah.
greatness. Like I just have to respect at this
Yeah.
point. Like everything he does, like we're just
Mhm.
watching it. And you're right, it was the same feelings. And I think we were texting, like everybody I was texting was like, this is Niners. Like if they won it, it's theirs. Their defense was playing
Yeah.
unbelievable. The D line was dominating the Chiefs offensive line. They couldn't do
Yes.
anything. And the moment for me where it was like not like the Niners could have wrapped this up. I think it was the first drive after halftime. Chiefs got the ball. Patrick Mahomes threw a bad interception at the 50-yard line. Really, all
Yeah.
you need to do is get
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
first down. You're adding 3 points and you're good. But like they didn't get
Mhm. Mhm.
anything out of that possession. And not only
Yeah.
did they not take advantage of the mistakes that the Chiefs were making, they made more mistakes. And you're right, when you're going up
Yeah.
against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, a coach like Andy Reid, and a Chiefs team that's been there before, you're going to lose every single time. And really what I came away from
Mhm.
that game with, again, we'll talk about Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But look, I said this going into the Ravens game. I said it going into the Niners game. I was like, this defense put some respect on their name because they are now clearly, if they're
Mhm.
not the best D in the league, they're top two. Like there's just no
Mhm.
debating that. Like how they played, this was a Niners offense that was rolling literally from September all the way on, and they did a really good job when Mahomes was down, when the offense was down and couldn't move the ball. They kept them in the game the whole time.
I mean, this is a defense that rode both of our teams, like rode us, like easy work versus the Cowboys and Eagles, right? Like
Well,
we
we beat
said,
them, but
like the
I mean, I
Chiefs
get what you're saying.
didn't they? What do you mean? The
We beat.
Niners beat you.
Oh, I thought you meant the Chiefs defense.
Oh no. The Niners
Oh yeah,
respect
yeah.
Debo. We'll get into that as well. Yeah,
No, I'm not
Debo
respecting. I'm not
threw three
respecting
or four
30 yard
yards.
Debo. 30 yard Debo in
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
yeah,
But it was still awesome to see that that comes out of. Okay, so then let's pretty much everything happens after halftime, right? After
yeah.
halftime,
Right.
you get you get the halftime show. My opinion, the halftime show was it was to me it was good. It was good to see Usher.
Yeah,
I think he was a
yeah,
little too touchy feely with my girl Alicia Keys. I'm gonna stand
yeah. He
on that.
was.
I
Yeah,
think
he
he
was.
he gripped her up. It sounded good. It was some songs, it definitely was some hits, but like it wasn't nothing like I grew up on. I knew some of the
Yeah.
hits, but it wasn't like it to me the best Super Bowl I ever seen halftime performance was Snoop Dogg, Dre,
Oh
Kendrick,
yeah.
Eminem. Like
Yep.
that was like 50 Cent. Like that was the best one in my opinion. So it was
Yeah.
it was okay. It was okay.
It was. It probably was what we
Then
expected. Like it's Usher. Okay, cool. Like
yeah,
it was cool. It wasn't anything like
yeah.
I'll remember.
It's still cool because he's coming off of like to have the like the reemerging like image that he has now
Mhm.
of like he killed Vegas, he did his thing in Vegas to then go in the Super Bowl and do his thing. Like hats off to him. Let's see what he does.
Yeah.
I just know now like I don't trust him around any shot like that. To me, that was high disrespect. No
Yeah.
matter if
Yeah.
it's a performance, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Fuck that. So then let's get right into it. Let's get right into the Travis Kelsey debacle, right? So you have
hmm
Travis Kelsey getting upset, like you said, the Kansas City Chiefs would shoot themselves in the foot. That you had a crazy like a Brock Purdy, I mean like a Dak Prescott type of interception thrown by Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yep.
a what the fuck was he looking for in that moment? You have the fucking handoff, the little pitch to Pacheco that just like
Yeah.
it was like they had so many 3rd and 20s. Like it was like 3rd and 20, 2nd and 20. They had so many just loss of yardage that it gained really back, right? Coming
hmm
right out the gate, Christian McCaffrey fumbling. I was like, no fucking way. This is how it's gonna go down. Then you have who Pacheco fumbling
Pacheco
immediately
fumbled. Yeah.
right after. Yeah, Pacheco fumbles, and then you have Travis Kelsey bumping in to Andy Reid and being like, I need to be in the fucking game. I need to be in the fucking game. Now I said this is a moment in which he's going to have to address this, but it can be geared by if you win or if you lose. If he loses,
100%.
everyone's just talking about that. They don't even talk about Patrick Mahomes losing. That it's these. This is the
Nope.
attitude is Travis Kelsey all the way around. When you saw that, what were your thoughts?
I think I texted you my initial thoughts, and actually, AJ Brown I think tweeted it and put some perspective. Like, what's the difference between Travis Kelsey and AJ Brown? AJ Brown was like, they would have kicked me out of the league if I did something like that,
Yeah.
and it's true. Like, honestly, my first reaction, I was like, dude, you're a leader on this team. Like, that's how you're acting. I think that happened like in the second quarter too. It's a one
Mhm,
possession
mhm,
game, dude. I get it. You're frustrated, but like, you're the leader on this team. You're supposed to be the one to calm guys down. I get it. Like, it's an
mhm,
emotional
mhm.
game. Like it's the game. You can't fucking bump in your head coach like that. And I think I even texted you like, what would the world have been like? What would the reaction would have been like if Odell did that to John Harbaugh? Not the
Mhm.
same reaction that Travis
For sure.
Kelsey got.
Yeah. Hell no, not at all. So I that right there was like, you have to win, bro. I was like, he has to win to get ahead of this. He has to win to like not deal with the hate that's gonna come. All right. So then I want to get into this overtime, right? So I actually like
Mhm.
was watching close. So during the coin flip, I walked away, went to go watch. I came back and and Jabri was like, 49ers won the coin toss and they selected it, right? In my head, I didn't think nothing of it in the moment. But afterwards, doing some research, I could tell you right now,
Mhm.
this is why they elected to take the ball. And you know exactly what I'm going to say. It's because you do not have your trust in Brock Purdy. They didn't have the trust in Brock Purdy all year. You say, I'd rather take the ball and have Patrick Mahomes and his goatness have to live up to whatever we do or beat us that way. I can't put that pressure on Brock Purdy. I can't see
Oh,
Patrick
yeah.
Mahomes go out and get 7 and say, Brock Purdy, now you have to do that. Because now, Brock Purdy, you have to go score rather than Brock Purdy, either give me 3 or give me 7.
Yes.
But you don't have to do nothing extraordinary. Do what we do. You can pick up the 3. And that's exactly what they did. And that's exactly the
And then
reason why I think Kyle Shanahan went with that.
yeah, because then that's a good point because he'll never come out and say that that would be the reason. But in that reasoning, you're thinking, okay, yeah, you're right. I'd rather have Purdy go down, get 3 or get 7, and then have the game rest on my defensive shoulders, which I trust more than Brock
Exactly.
Purdy. And maybe that is the
Exactly.
case. My instant reaction was, "What the hell are you doing?" And then my secondary reaction was, "Okay, is he kind of just saying like our defense is gassed?" Like you remember, Mahomes went down the field and tied it. That's the reason they were in
Yeah.
overtime.
Yeah.
But then somebody brought up a point. It was a 2-minute drive. And then you had like a 5-minute commercial break to cool down. Like, there's no way your defense is gassed. Plus, again,
Mm-mm.
you're not playing next week. Like, I don't
Mhm.
give a fuck if you're gassed. Like, go in
Mhm.
and get the extra that you have left in the tank.
Mhm.
I really think, and again, this boils down to why we talked about throughout the playoffs. Like, my worry kind of shifted for the Niners from Purdy to Kyle Shanahan because I just don't like, I think he's so into his offense, so into his play calling like I think the rest of the game like kind of loses him. He called a weird
Mhm.
timeout at the end of the fourth quarter when they were on the
Yeah.
defensive side that like he's not even controlling. Again, clearly his players don't even know the rules. Like to hear Kyle Juszczyk come out and be like, "I thought if we scored a touchdown, we won." Like I sincerely think if they scored a touchdown on that first drive, half of the team at the least would have scrambled onto the field with their helmets off, like thrown in the air, thinking they just won the Super Bowl and how
That
you
would have been
don't
nuts.
know the rules, it would have been nuts. It would have been all time because then Mahomes would
Yeah.
have came back, scored a touchdown, went for 2 and 1.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's like honestly, I truly don't know how your players and how clearly you as a coach don't understand the overtime rules in the biggest game you'll ever play in your life.
Yeah, I don't think okay. In my opinion, I don't think you can put this all on I don't think it's on Kyle Shanahan. I think this one's not. I think that it comes down to he's fed this position. He doesn't have a quarterback he can do more with. He needs someone he can do more with. Like I truly believe that. Like
What
I
more do
truly
you need? But like
what's
you
the
got to
difference? I get it. I get it. He has an amazing team. You had an amazing defense. You had amazing offense. I think that he did get away from the run. I say if he kept running the ball, it
get
runs the
again. Yep.
clock. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that much time. Like he gets that in every Super Bowl where they say just run. And you heard Tony Romo be like, just run the ball.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's not running the ball. Just run the ball.
You're the
And then
best
like
back in the league, like by far. Just give it to
nasty,
him.
bro.
Give it to him 2 out
Nasty,
of 3
nasty.
downs. Like I don't care. I don't even care if you don't pick up first downs. Like you're killing clock. You're getting yards.
Yeah.
Just give it to the best player on the field other than Patrick Mahomes. Give it to him and have him go and win the game. I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
And I mean, like, there's no such thing as being gassed. Like Christian McCaffrey takes hit. Like every time he gets
Yeah.
tackled on the sideline, he bangs his head on the ground and gets out. I'm like, he has concussion. He has concussion every single fucking time, right? So he bounces back up. He's a baller. Like what is
Yeah.
that famous who is it? Bill Parcells like lines. This is why you lift all these weights. This is why. It's these moments here that you do it. But I'd rather you put it in his hands. But again, I don't put it all on Kyle Shanahan. I don't think this one can go against him as like he lost this one. I think it truly is like what's the difference between Brock Purdy and Matt Ryan? Like, I mean, like let's be honest. Like, they're not too far in difference. Like, I just think if he has a little bit better quarterback, he can trust in him a little bit. But again, run the fucking ball. It does come back on you as a coach. Like, how do you walk away being 0-3 in the Super Bowl? 0-3 in the Super Bowl
And
as a
every
coach?
time, and that's all on him because every time he
Yeah,
had a 10-point lead on Sunday, he had a 10-point lead when they played the Chiefs the first time, and he had the 28-3 game when he was the offensive coordinator. And what was the common denominator? We're leaving these games saying, why didn't you run the ball? So like if you're not
yeah,
like you're insane. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Except this time, but I don't know who the back for the Falcons was, Deontay Freeman maybe, or whatever his name was. The
mhm,
Niners, when they won
yeah,
or when they played the Chiefs a couple years ago, was like a collection of backs, I think. Now you have
mhm,
the best running back in the league and one of the best running backs we've ever seen. There's no excuses. You
yeah.
feed him the rock,
I agree.
especially when you have, like you said, with Brock Purdy, you have trash Debo Samuel, Kittle's banged up, and Ayuk is clearly frustrated because his quarterback can't hit him. Like, give the ball to your best player.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So then we have to jump into the Andy Reid and Bill Belichick. Who's the GOAT coach? All right, so who has years to success to Super Bowl wins compared to each other?
Who
Yeah,
comparatively, let me look it up. I want to say years. I'm not sure. Super Bowl's obviously Bill Belichick. Let me look it up.
yeah, because I wonder how we can contribute to this because both have had the GOAT
I mean,
quarterbacks.
I already know the answer.
Both have the GOAT quarterbacks, right? One has
Right.
had Tom Brady, one's had Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is early into his career. Tom Brady he had like those 20 years of being there. So that's
Mhm.
that's Belichick's years. Belichick did win. Did he win a Super Bowl with the Giants? I don't know if he did or not. Um, I don't know if he
I'm
did.
not sure.
I don't know if he won it with Taylor. But all right. So what comes up? What do you think? What do you got?
So for me, I think I told you this before the game. I said if the Chiefs win this Super Bowl, Andy Reid is a better coach than Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And the reasoning for that is I kind of look at, what you just said is a great point, right? You probably have Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes as the top two quarterbacks
Mhm.
of all time. We can both agree on that. Everyone should agree on that at this point. But what have you done outside of that? And Bill Belichick, before the Patriots, I think was fired or was traded, like let go to the Patriots, didn't have a lot of success. And then obviously we know post Tom Brady, with those teams that Brady won 12, 11 games with leading up to it, not a lot changed. And now the Patriots were the third worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And now he's leaving them as
Yeah.
kind of like a garbage fire. So without Brady, Belichick has made the playoffs one time. They got rolled against the
Mhm.
Bills. Andy Reid, before Mahomes, in Philly and in Kansas City, making the playoffs consistently. You remember the early 2000s years where the Eagles made like four straight NFC championship games, made a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Granted, they lost. And then he went to Kansas City with Alex Smith, and I think they made the
Mhm.
playoffs once or twice again. So to me, look, the quarterback and the players you have are going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
But to me, what do you do outside of that? And Andy Reid, man, has had unbelievable success with the Eagles. He will forever be, in my opinion, at least I will be able to see, probably the best coach the Eagles have ever had. Longevity wise, he was here for 14, 15 years. The Eagles were constantly at the top of the NFC. You go to Kansas City right after, this is another thing. After the Eagles fired him, he was like unemployed for a day and a half,
Mhm.
and the Chiefs picked him up right away. They're like, we fucking need him. Belichick's fired. Nobody picks him up.
Yeah.
Not one team. One team interviewed him. It was the Falcons, and they didn't even pick him up. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, look, Belichick's probably going to have more wins, more playoff wins. There's still time for Andy Reid to catch him with that. But in my opinion, without Tom Brady, I don't know if Belichick ever wins a Super Bowl. And without Patrick Mahomes, at least Andy Reid was getting to those NFC Championship games consistently, and almost did win a Super Bowl without him.
So
With
and
Donovan McNabb.
yeah, that's true. And so Andy Reid has 3. So he has half of what Belichick has.
3
S- And I wonder in
Yep.
the amount of time, like how long has Andy Reid been coaching
So he's been around for a
as a
while.
head coach?
So he started coaching the Eagles in 1999. In 1999,
Damn.
Bill Belichick was 90. He was the Cleveland
Yeah.
Browns head coach from 91 to 95, and then started with the Patriots in the year 2000.
Okay. Okay. Um, I mean, I agree with you. I would definitely say I agree with you of having the amount of success he's had in different standards, different teams, different. I mean, Andy Reid can go on forever. Like you know what I mean. He can keep going. And that's
Yeah,
kind of what people are saying about Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan is young. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's coached in them. He's lost 3. But how different is that from Andy Reid? Andy Reid was in all those NFC championships. He was in the Super Bowl.
yeah,
So like I see a post about that. Like, yo, he has a long line of history that he can go down to correct his wrongs, pretty much. And I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't.
yeah,
I mean, as an Eagles fan, how does it make you feel seeing Andy Reid have that success going? No matter what, everyone loves him. Everyone's like, the love is still there. But would you rather say,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Eagles fans, I wish we could have held on a little bit longer rather than say, get rid of that guy?
Yeah, and I think that's easy to say. Like, oh man, we should
Yeah.
have held on. But man, the last couple years he was here, like it was a steady decline. I'm not sure if you remember all that well, if you were keeping that close of a tab on it, but like it was going downhill. I think his last year they won 3 or 4 games. Like it was one of those things. It
Yeah.
was time to move on. You probably could have kept him, but like it just wasn't working out. And I don't think there's any hate. It kind of seemed like it was a mutual thing. If anything, the Eagles kind of initiated it. I will never have any real
Mhm.
hate towards Andy Reid. Again, like losing the Super Bowl to them last year, I could still come in this year and be like, you know what? Like
Yeah,
if he wins, he wins. I'm not going to necessarily like next
for
year be
sure.
like, let's go Chiefs when the Eagles are knocked out. They're not going to be the team I'm like rooting for to win number one because of him. But it's never going to be hate. And I feel like I get that's the general
For sure.
consensus with most
For
Eagles
sure, for
fans.
sure. I agree. So then GOAT talk. I was a Brady hater. I hated Brady until he got to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I couldn't stand. I think you liked him earlier than me, but I was always saying like I hated Brady. I hate
Mhm.
that Brady always got his way. Anytime he looked for a flag, got the flag. I hate the Patriot way. I hate the Patriots. I hate everything about it. Right?
Yep.
Wasn't until that debate of like who can do it better? Who's going to do it without who? Is Bill Belichick going to be able to do it without Brady, and is Brady going to be able to do it with Belichick? Well, we answered that pretty quickly, right?
Mhm.
The next year, we say,
Yeah, right away.
yeah, right away. Next
Yeah.
year, I'm goat me up, right? We'll go in the Super Bowl. You see Tom Brady like being himself. You see him getting fucked up in the Super Bowl. Like I was like, nah, I do like Tom. Like Tom is a good dude. Like people talk better about him.
Yeah.
But this is our generation of Tom Brady. Let's be honest. Like this is we're fully invested into a guy and seeing what he can do. And Patrick Mahomes, it's like you'd be dumb to bet against Patrick Mahomes. And I mean, all the stats that I was seeing that you
Mhm.
showed me, like I think I saw one that was like with this much time left or whatever, like that happens. Like there's these. Oh, let's just read it off because you definitely shared that with me.
Yeah.
And that thing was just amazing. Let's see if I can find it. It goes since 2001 there have been 125 drives in an NFL postseason where it was at least the fourth quarter. There was under a minute left to play, and the team on offense trailed by 7 points or fewer to start. These are your standard clutch moments for a football team. The do or die drives that win or lose critical games. Out of the 125 drives, only 40% of them saw the team on offense pull off the magic trick and get the points they needed. Some quarterbacks are pretty good at it, such as Tom Brady, who went 5 for 11, 46%. Drew Brees, who went 3 for 6, 50%. Only Patrick Mahomes, though, is 7 for 7 or perfect in these dire situations. I mean,
Like that's
just go.
ridiculous.
Like there's just like I would be pissed
Yeah.
off to be going upon that to be like, no matter what we do, we can't stop him. It's unfair. It's unfair.
No. That's what I mean. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like for the Niners, again, they played the better game for what
100%.
90%
Yeah.
of the Super Bowl. Like it should have
Yeah.
been more, and that's kind of why as the game was going on, I was like, wait, the Chiefs are
Yeah.
only down 7. Like nah, this doesn't feel right. Like something's gonna happen to where
Yeah.
Mahomes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it did, right? Like that punt that ended up hitting the Niners returner's leg, and like Chiefs got
Yeah.
it. Next play, Mahomes touchdown. Like all you need is that one mistake. You're up by a touchdown, and you're worried that if we make one mistake, we're
Yeah.
fucked. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy. I think the other stat too. Again, there's probably
Yeah. Yeah.
millions of them at this point. But I texted you this earlier. Mahomes has played in regular season and playoffs a combined 114 games that he started. The Chiefs have only lost 4 of 114 games by more than a touchdown. 4.
Wow. And one of them was this.
Like that
One
doesn't
of them
even
was this
doesn't
year
make
when
any
they got
sense.
beat in the regular season. Like, yeah, that's amazing. Like, he could play forever, bro. He could play forever, and yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like people have been saying like the thing with Brady and what made me even like him more and more was like seeing how hard he worked, seeing how hard he worked on himself, like the recovery. Even when they would win Super Bowls, he would be the first to say like, "No, like it's time to
Mhm.
train now. Like we're going to go back." I remember one story where one of the Patriots linebackers like just missed out on the Pro Bowl, probably got snubbed, and he looked really upset at practice. And Brady went up to him. He's like, "What's wrong?" And the guy's like, "Man, I got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. I'm pretty upset about it." And Brady's like, "Well, cheer the fuck up, dude. Like, we're not playing for Pro Bowls. We're playing for
Mhm.
Super Bowls." And like he was like, and we went out
Mhm.
that year and we won. And it's just like that's why I love Tom Brady so much. Like how much work he put in. You're already seeing that work being put in with Patrick Mahomes at what 28 years
Yeah.
old, 3 Super Bowls in. Like we watched that quarterback show on Netflix. Like half of it is Mahomes like
Mhm.
grinding in the offseason, taking care of his body, doing what he needs to do to continue to play this game at a high level for at least the next 10 to 12
For sure.
years. Like
For
at
sure.
least.
And it was crazy to see in a documentary that after games he would be talking about like around the table and it's like, dude, he's talking like it's just like high school football bullshit. Like he's just And it's like,
I
dog,
know.
this is the NFL, bro. You're talking about here. Like, this is like the fucking, like, you got to be the clutchest guy in history. Like, you're clutch, bro. You're clutch. And he's like, nah, we'll be
Yeah.
back. He's like, I ain't worried about it. Like, I'll see them next week. I'll see them again. Like, I think they lost in like the regular season to the Bills last year. And he was like, I'll see them again. Don't worry. We know how to beat them. Like, I'm good. And it was like,
Yeah.
we fucking got it. But
Yeah.
then it also was a resemblance of like the way that people said to Brady every time, like, this fucking Patriots team sucks. They have nobody. And that's the year they go win a Super Bowl, right?
Exactly.
It's like now, not for nothing, this team can only get better. Like, you got to keep a couple guys on the defense side, but this team
Yep.
is nobody. Like, this team was Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Let's figure this shit the fuck out. I mean,
No,
Pacheco
yeah,
got killed. I mean, Tony is still fucking right now. He doesn't want. He probably didn't go to the parade. He probably doesn't even want the Super Bowl ring. Like, there's guys to get rid of
no.
and bring in new guys. You'd be like, let's put more talent around, like Patrick Mahomes, and see what the fuck we can do. If we did it with this team, why can't we keep recreating this? And I think that's going to be there. It's Travis Kelce having his worst year ever and not turning on to the playoffs. Let's see what he does all year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're still so young. Like, what is Patrick Mahomes, like 25, 20,
I know.
20, like what is he? Like, how old is he? Like,
he's 28.
Yeah,
he's only 28.
He's on track to play. If he plays as long as Brady, mind you, it's very hard to do for a body to put up with, especially he who is a running quarterback. But for him, like, why can't I? Like, why can't we go? And this is a dynasty. This is a modern day dynasty that we're seeing again, and it's pretty awesome to see. It's like it's not the Patriots anymore. It's a little bit funner, a little more swagger to it. It's Andy Reid. It's not boring ass Bill. Like, to be honest with you, watching the Patriots win wasn't amazing because they were so boring. They played fundamental football. Bill Belichick didn't give you nothing during the year. Like, you're getting, like, no matter what, you're getting Taylor Swift, you're getting Patrick Mahomes, you're getting his brother being stupid, you're getting his fucking dad getting DUIs, you're getting like just everything in one of like this team. Like, you're getting so much from this team that it's like, this is what a team is about. We don't hire that bullshit, but we play ball and we figure it out.
Yeah. And this just felt so much like a Patriots year, especially towards the end when, everyone was saying like Brady's cooked.
Yeah.
Is it Garoppolo time? Is it time to go get another quarterback? Yeah. Like, they're struggling during the regular season and they end up winning 12 games and winning the Super Bowl. Like, that's all it was this year. Like, I know you and I talked a lot about the Eagles struggles, but there was like hints. You remember the Christmas Day game, bro? Like, the Chiefs got manhandled by the Raiders. Like, the Raiders went into Kansas City and like just dogged them.
Yeah.
And it's like, here we go. Like, turn on the playoffs and you play a Dolphins offense, which, look, we both know that they were like a soft team. We knew that they weren't going to win the game, but you held them to 7 points. You almost put up 30 in like negative 30-degree weather.
Yeah.
And then you went into Buffalo. And we were all saying, like, this is the year to get them. Like, the Bills, you're finally home. You finally probably have the better roster, and he fucking beat them.
Yeah.
And then you go into Baltimore, which the fucking Ravens, look, Von was cocky. I hate to say it. He had every right to be. I mean, they were blowing teams out left and right. I don't remember a close game that they played this year. Even when they played the Niners in San Francisco, they made the Niners look like one of the worst teams in the league. And they go into Baltimore and beat them without a problem. And then you go into the Super Bowl and you play like shit for 90% of the game and you somehow come up on top. And I think the weirdest, maybe most frustrating part, because I do think we're going to get a point to the offseason, like Travis Kelce may start to get on people's bad sides, especially with what he did with Andy Reid. Like, I don't want that to go on like just swept under the rug. Like, let's really start to talk about this guy. It's going to be him and Taylor Swift. It's going to be Mahomes starting to, like, I think he's really going to enter like that villain mode. You even pointed out when they were going through the interviews, he was like talking with the fans, talking shit, like really getting into it. I think he's embracing like, yeah, fucking hate me because I'm going to win. But these last 2 years, bro, like they just traded Tyreek Hill 2 years ago because they said we have to pay Mahomes. We're going to take the cap hit. We're going to fight, but whatever happens, happens. And after these 2 years, then we'll have enough cap space to really like reel the players back in. We'll get some real weapons. We'll build our defense through the draft. Well, guess what? Those 2 years that they were rebuilding, they just won the fucking Super Bowl.
Back to back.
Like, what do you do?
You trade Tyreek and everyone's like, what the fuck are they doing? Back to back, baby. And that's what they did.
You trade probably one of, if not the best receiver in the game, like one of the best overall weapons in the league. Everyone's like, here we go. Let's see what Mahomes is. Let's see what the Chiefs are without Tyreek Hill. Better. We're better somehow.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So we're just talking about the future of the Chiefs. What are we looking at the future of San Francisco 49ers? I mean, this is a team that no matter what has its years of like they've been getting back to it. I say, hey, isn't it a shame that the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl more recent than the 49ers. Isn't that crazy to hear, bro? Fuck, man. It's so crazy to hear.
It's so funny. It's so funny that very rarely, if ever, and I say, and well, I'll say very rarely because going back to when the Eagles played the Patriots, I think yourself and like other Cowboys fans were probably rooting for the Eagles because of that hate. But very rarely will you get the Eagles and Cowboys fans coming
Yeah,
together because of
yeah,
another team. And when I sent you that, and for I guess our audience, whatever I sent you, when George Kittle, when you guys played them, raised up his jersey and he had the fuck
mhm,
Dallas shirt on, somebody cropped like Cowboys have won a Super Bowl more recently than the
mhm,
49ers. Like real bad crop leak. It
mhm.
was funny as shit. I saw that because it was an Eagles fan page. And then I'm scrolling down Twitter and I'm seeing what was it? It was like a long tweet of basically the summary of it was don't ever compare Jalen Hurts and what he did against the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl to Brock Purdy. Like never compare those two
It's
again.
true.
I'm like, you know what? Yeah, fuck yeah. I was
Yeah.
about to retweet it. It was like a CD Lamb in the ad in the Twitter ad.
Ah,
Like as a Cowboys
yeah.
fan. And I was like, Cowboys and Eagles fans
Yeah,
are literally like going back and forth
yeah.
like with Niners fans at
Okay,
this
so
point.
no,
So
let's talk about that.
it
So
was
I don't like that take. I don't like that immediately Fletcher Cox bitch ass, all of them are being like, oh wait, what the fuck? At least I got a Super Bowl ring to what's his name? Debo.
Debo.
That pissed me off. Because no matter what you look like,
You probably forgot his name. You probably forgot his name because you didn't really call it a lot in the Super Bowl.
fuck you,
So
fuck you.
it's fun.
No, like I just don't like that take. I don't like I don't know. It's just something about that run me wrong. It has nothing to do with the Eagles. It has everything to be like, dog, he was in the game. He played like shit. He talked to shit, but he backed it up against you guys. He dogged you guys out. You had nothing to say. You guys got destroyed by us. Don't say shit to me now that I'm in the Super Bowl game where you
This year
yeah,
though,
you're right.
because the reason again, like the reason that this was all the reason that this was everything. Like truthfully, if the Niners players from last year, like everyone from Debo to remember their
Yeah,
kicker even said
yeah,
something about Jalen Hurts. If that never happened, everybody in Philadelphia would have been rooting for the Niners. Like it would not have even been close because we've been like, you know what, fuck the
okay, okay,
Chiefs. They beat us last year, but they just man, like they taught. You saw what Bosa said this week. Like somebody pulled a fire
yeah,
alarm at like
yeah.
6 in the morning. Not even like a crazy. And the first thing he said was like, yeah, you know, we're used to it. When we were in Philly, there was construction going on around the block that, and we're like, it's like fucking the city of Philly. There's construction on every
Yeah,
block.
yeah,
Like I don't like why are we the
yeah,
first thing that comes in your head to bitch
yeah.
about? So look, you bring it upon yourself. This is the clapback that you have to expect. You talked your
Okay.
shit when the Eagles lost the Super Bowl for nothing. Now get it back. And
So he
like
talked
Fletcher
shit to you
Cox said,
guys
eat a dick.
about the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, everybody
Uh,
was. It was like, look, I told you they would get exposed. We would have beat
okay,
them
okay.
if Purdy was healthy. It
Oh
was all this
yes,
all off
yes. You're right.
season.
You're right.
It was
You're right.
weird.
You're right. You're right. You're right. My bad. My bad. Yeah, no, it's warranted. My bad. My bad. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
gonna
No, it's
say,
warranted. You're 100% right. Yeah, you're right because he was
like
on
even the
podcast. He was
kicker.
on podcast saying if we had
I
Purdy, yeah,
yes,
you're right. You're right.
even the kicker. I remember, who I think since retired, it wasn't their kicker this year. Said like our defensive plan was just like
Yeah.
have Hurts throw the ball, and it was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, what
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you talking about?
You're right.
Like
You're right.
it's crazy, man.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Okay. So ending it here.
Yeah,
What's next for the 49ers? Like, do you think this team can they're already being like rooted as like they a comeback. They can easily come back to Super Bowl again for next year going forward. What's your thoughts?
yeah. So here's my thoughts on like I'm trying to put this because I have like hater takes, obviously,
Yeah.
but like looking at it holistically, right? As non-hater, I'll ask you this question, then I'll answer the rest of it. Truthfully, how much better can Brock Purdy get?
No, no, no.
Because I don't think he can get that much. I think we're kind of seeing his ceiling, right?
No,
So
okay.
if that's the
No,
case,
no, no. I think you'll see a little bit more trust in him. You'll see him start to open up. Like, think about it. He's only coming
okay,
off of, yeah, you definitely see him, slinging the ball a little bit. I don't know to what ability. You may see him shit the bed more because the playbook might open up for him. Because let's be honest, like it was like he was being treated all year like a backup quarterback that came in. Hey, just play ball. You don't need to do nothing
yeah,
special. So let's see if the playbook gets opened up for him to start making that difference. So and again, that could go even to him
okay,
tanking more. Him tanking.
exactly.
Yeah.
So okay, so there's the case then. So Brock, all I'm going to say about the 49ers, you better get it this
Yeah.
year because either Brock Purdy isn't going to be the guy, and now you're back to square one, or he has a season, even if it's the same as this year. Like even if that was his ceiling, it's a
Mhm.
very good season. Well, now you
Yeah.
got to pay him. And all those superstars that
Facts.
you have on that team, because I just learned that Brock Purdy is
No.
not even making the most money if he was a third string quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Third string. So there's a reason why they have a Brandon Ayuk. There's a reason that their defensive line looks the way it does. There's a reason that they have McCaffrey, that they have Kittle, that they have Trent Williams, that they have all these guys. You better get it this year, because if you don't, you're going to have to either pay Purdy because he earned a contract, or you're back to square one with maybe trying to go find and paying another veteran quarterback or drafting one. We talk about the Eagles getting older. How many more hits can McCaffrey take? Debo's